Hello, or however long it takes to go live, because I
Here we
don't
go.
see.
Well, we're recording live anyways.
Oh, well, here we are. That's good. Well, Daniel, I'm loving your outfit. I feel so underdressed today. Honestly. What the hell? Um, so it says it's waiting for me. But here we go. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here she is.
There we
Here.
go.
I was starting to get worried because when I thought, oh, did I mess this up too?
Look at that. John Roberts waiting for us.
John Roberts, hello.
Hello.
Um, yeah, you look amazing today. I look like I just rolled out of bed, which is fine because I just got out. I'm going to work today. So this is all the drag you're getting.
And I have not been, and these are the only chances I really get to,
Be yourself. Express yourself.
be pretty.
I think you look amazing. I did put on a drag for you. So that's all you got.
You always look amazing. You with your red hair and your makeup all over the place. Doesn't matter what
You say all over the place, like I was all over the place.
I should have wore my red wig today.
Oh yeah.
Imagine the red wig with
Oh my God, it'd have been so good. Hey LaDonna.
Hello.
Yeah, that'll look good. We'll wait if you want to go get it.
We'll wait.
It's a no from you? Okay.
Not today.
Well, you have to do it while it's still cool outside because you know how hot that thing is.
I got hot in at that time I wore it. I'm like, geez. Thanks, John Robert. I know you're talking about the collar and not me specifically. So
I think it's just peachy. What is the weather like today in Illinois?
Oh, well, we're getting ready to ramp into severe season. But here it's just rainy. They thought we were going to, and they could have had, I haven't paid attention, some storms with some hail in it. But it didn't come to fruition here. But we're supposed to, starting tonight, we could get up to 6 inches of rain. So they're expecting flooding and hello. I am coming to Italy.
I don't know, Venice, with global warming, Venice might be underwater.
That's right. Yeah. Plus, I'm not for sure if they like my type of people over there. Unclear. I don't know. Anyways, they're supposed to have some really bad storms down south tomorrow, like a tornado outbreak. Unfortunately, really? Again.
How far south? Do you know?
I think it's like in the Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas. I think it's mainly Arkansas and what's below Arkansas? Georgia? No.
Texas?
Mississippi?
No.
Let me look. Anyways, in that area, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, those areas, they're expecting like.
Let me look at the map.
I know. I just watched the video too because I watch Ryan Hall, y'all. He's like a big weather person here, and he was talking about it.
Alabama.
I did see the tornado in California.
Where in California?
It was by Los Angeles. It was like 8 miles from Los Angeles. And this is the first time in that area for a tornado. And that's what's coming. That's what's going to produce all this weather.
How weird.
Mm-hmm. And actually, yeah, there's a video of it. It's actually showing it tearing things up.
Imagine it would, because it's like again, it's not an area. It's such a built up area east of LA. You know what I mean? And they never get like weather like that. So they don't have to kind of build like that. And the only fourth one to ever hit the state in years. Ugh. Well, child, we are not getting that kind of weather here in the UK. We are getting much like Daniel's, but it was windy today or rainy. It's rained since it snowed last week. It's just rained every day. Today it rained and the sun came out. Then it rained and the sun came out. Then it was pretty rainbows though, I must say. But it's supposed to rain the rest of this week. It's supposed to rain most of next week. And what are you gonna do? It's just it makes the grass all green and pretty. Yeah, California is getting slammed this year. They're getting all the weather systems. Lord, they'll
So
be getting a dang hurricane.
that water train that they talked about that kept going over California and stuff.
Yeah.
Here across Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, we're going to get a small version of that. That's why we're going to get up to 6 inches of rain. It's just going to keep training over and over and over us. So we'll see. I don't see anything.
It'll pop up.
I'm not for sure which is worse. Well, I do. I'd rather take the weather.
Not the weather. At least you can run from the weather to some extent.
That's right. And for any of you Canadian people, I've been looking into what's it called again? Where I could declare
Refugee status.
No, it's
Immigrant.
called asylum, seeking asylum or something. Yeah,
Seek asylum.
That's a thing there. So I may be coming to Canada first before my way over to England, because I'll have to save up some money when I'm in Canada to get to England then. Although the two are in cahoots, so maybe, it's an easy stepping stone then.
Yeah. Well, it's just the weather's been crazy here, and rain. Not as crazy as there, but it's just like it's not even April. Why are we having showers?
It's just we're gonna have to get used to things being different. The weather is just gonna get different. By the way, everybody, I'm having coffee because you know how I love to share my life. I had to have my soul sucked out this morning, so I had to give blood for blood work, so they can tell me all the things now that's wrong with me and that I need pills for. I can't wait for it. But anyways, I didn't get to have my coffee this morning, and I'm really tired. And I figured out why I was tired just before I came on. I'm like, I haven't had my coffee because I couldn't have sugar in it. I can't drink black coffee.
I told this morning to drink black coffee because they were going to take his bloods, and they're like, they're going to find all this stuff wrong with me. I was like, drink your coffee and just
poop it out. She said, poop it out. That's what she said.
I didn't use the word poop.
We're YouTube family here.
Just they call it not excavate.
Excrement.
No, evacuate your bowels.
Evacuate your excrement.
Okay, that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about that.
Let's not talk about John Robert. We're on to another subject right now.
So I
put my glasses on for this.
Any hospitals are saying they are in financial trouble, and yet they've built huge medical meccas in the last 4 years here. Well, they're saying that so they don't have to help anybody. That's why.
Yes.
Oh my God, they're gonna do that. So today, I picked this topic because here's why. I was at work and I was talking to a coworker who has young children, and we were just chit-chatting and kikiing about her. I think they're like in we were talking about kids, like her kids going to school. They're like, elementary age. Here they call it, what do they call it here? Primary school. Yeah, primary school. Yes. So they were talking. Oh, John. So we were talking about this school here and everything. And I don't know how we got on the subject of school uniforms, because here in the UK, regardless of what kind of school you go to, whether it's a private school or a public school, well, here they call public school state schools. So because public school is actually a private school here, and state school is not. Anyway, but to not have confusion, private schools and public schools like we know it. So here, when they go to their public schools, they have to wear uniforms. Everybody, private schools, public schools, religious schools, doesn't matter. okay, all the up till you get to like 16, or now it's 18. It used to be 16 when they left school. Now they have to stay till 18. They have to wear uniforms. And when I say uniform, I don't mean, it's a lot. It's blazer or a sweatshirt with the polos, or sometimes it's a white shirt, dress shirt with a tie, dress shoes, the dress slacks, all the things. It's not like, it's a proper uniform, and that is in all the schools here. Now,
I'm going to mention one thing.
uh-huh.
Every time you've said about this subject, and I haven't even said this to you, sorry, but all that I can think of is, oops, I did it again. All I do is picture Britney Spears in her.
So that was in my high school, I can tell you. So same in Mexico, all in uniforms. Okay, so yeah. So obviously, I did not grow up in the UK. I grew up in the United States. And went to schools in the United States, went to public schools in the United States. And I never wore a uniform in all my years. Now, here's the thing. As a parent, finding uniform clothing that would fit my girls is real pain in the booty. Okay, here's exactly, LaDonna. So,
we froze for a moment, or at least
okay.
on me, it froze for a moment.
Okay, are we okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're good. So, so here's LaDonna's comment. Okay, so, and I don't have young children. Here's the first thing: I'm not a teacher. Never have been. I do not have young children in school. But I remember going to high school and or all the schools, elementary, junior high, high school, and I never wore uniforms. In fact, to this day, I don't. I work at a company that provides you uniforms, and you can wear them, but it's not mandatory. I don't wear them. I don't. I absolutely do not. I don't have to. So I just think and I was looking it up. I was doing some research. And I was like, there's pros and there's cons for uniforms being put in public schools, meaning, not just private schools, public schools in the United States. And all of schools here have uniforms. Now, I have my own opinion about uniforms in school. That's just my opinion. But we're going to go through some pros and cons. I will tell you my opinion up front. I don't believe in them. And here's why. Because you're making people think, or children think, that the idea is to make them all feel the same. Like there's no issue with clothing. There's no, you don't stand out, or because of this, or because of your finances or whatever. And then you're all the same. I'm here to tell you, it's probably better to learn young that you're not all the same. I feel like, this is my opinion. Class differences. My opinion is that it's better that you learn young that that you're all different, that you aren't going to grow up and be all the same. Your current life is not the same. And I feel like you learn that, the sooner you learn that, the better you're going to get along, and the better you're going to be able to handle it in the world. You see people leave school who've been in uniforms their whole lives and have no idea. They're like, what do I do now? Because I don't know, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm different? I'm not. It's like, you're all different. Everybody's different. Uniforms aren't going to change who you are as an individual. This is true. But you're also not going to be under the delusion that you're all the same, because you're not. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. So that's my stance on uniforms. But we're going to go through the pros and cons, because some of them are good. I'm going to say some of the pros are, I understand why. But but we'll get to that. So, pro one. Let's talk about the first pro. School uniforms may deter crime and increase student safety. Now, I'm all about student safety. I think it's important that the students feel safe. I don't think the lack of a uniform makes them feel unsafe. Just saying. I'm sure there's bigger problems than not wearing a uniform. Why I wouldn't feel safe in a school. But but there's several like instances of where certain middle schools, instituted uniform policy, and the data showed that, a lot of fighting dropped by 50%. A lot of, robberies were dropped by 74%. And I get it. And possession of weapons or weapon lookalikes decreased by 52%. Okay, fine, I get it. But you can't tell me that just because you wear a uniform, you automatically stop committing crimes, or you automatically stop acting up or acting out or whatever the problem is. Girl, that's what. Yeah, exactly. True. School should be stay focused on education. Hey, Cameron. And so that's okay. I get it. That's helps. I don't understand. Well, they're saying that the uniforms prevent students from concealing weapons in their baggy clothes. I mean, that might
carry backpacks.
I mean, if you're going to carry backpacks, you're going to go that far. Make it wear clear cap backpacks. So that was one pro for uniforms. That if you were just to read that, let's say of course, they're saying, oh, it cuts down student fights. Child, their kids gonna find a reason to fight. I have a friend whose kids are in middle school and here in the UK, and they wear uniforms, and they always talking about people fighting and beating each other, all in uniforms. They look very, very good doing it because they're all in uniforms, but they still patting and shitting of each other. You know what I mean? And so there's that. So I get it. I understand you want to keep your child safe. My clothing, or the lack of a uniform, not necessarily going to keep safe. Or it's not going to be any worse if I'm not wearing a uniform. You know what I mean? Like, how I understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that study at all. Was it one school? Who was it sponsored by? That type of stuff, because those statements are very blank statements.
Okay, so the first one was in Long Beach, California. After 2 years of district-wide mandatory uniform policy, reports of assault and battery in the school districts decreased by 34%. Assault with a deadly weapon dropped by 50%. Fighting incidents went down by 51%. 74% robbery was, it was cut by 74%. 65% possession of drugs went down by 69%, and vandalism. That's just one school. Now, here's my thing. And I'm not a teacher, and I've never worked in school, and like I said, I don't have school-age children. So, kids always be challenged. Yeah. Kids are always going to challenge. I know I did. See,
that's the thing. Did they bring in security? What else changed besides? Because if they implemented that, they probably implemented other things that also. That's exactly what I was thinking.
You also remember, don't forget, and I know in a lot of school districts, they have their own police. School districts, I know HISD has their own police. I don't know if Fort Bend Independent School District. I wish Beth was here, but she's busy, but because she works for Fort Bend Independent School District, is where I went to school. So it's kind of basing it on that. So, or like my experience with school, which was a long, long time ago in a faraway place. So there's a lot of, if you have now introduced all these things at one time, uniforms, metal detectors, in a school district police, you don't know which one stopped it. You know what I mean? Resource officers. Oh, is that what they're called? Oh, we call them police. We call them school police. The school police. So then the con. Here's the con. School uniforms restrict students' freedom of expression. I believe that. Now, and you go ahead. Yes, okay. Daniel.
So I said I had an opinion on this.
Yes, go ahead.
That is the perfect segue for me to come in. Speaking from my side of the aisle, So if you introduce, to me, introducing, this is my own personal opinion, my own political opinion, my own whatever. I own this. All that is doing is teaching this is the way society should be. This is how it should be. We are the rulers. You should look like us. You should speak like us, and you should be like us. There is nothing outside of that. Talking to you, Florida.
Yeah.
Talking to you, Tennessee. Talking to you, all the other states that are trying to become that way. What do the schools do about their trans, non-binary, and gay students? If I decide that I want to wear the skirt with the blazer with the thing, and I am a male, or I'm a trans person, or anything of that, then what are you going to say about that? Are you going to allow that? It's still the school uniform. So there you go. You are trying to get rid of different segments of society because this is the only way you want people to be.
Well, and I understand John Roberts, focusing just on school, I get that. I can still focus on school and have purple hair. You know what I mean? Like I can still wear my combat boots and tea party dress that I used to wear
Here's the thing.
in high school.
I will also say, for some people, it's not an expression.
Right, correct. It is who they are.
Period. It's
Yeah.
not an expression. It's not a fad. It's not a type of thing like that. That's the point I'm getting across.
No, I know. Yeah, 100%. But to some degree, that it's not an expression, but it's being able to express who you are. Do you know what I mean? If that is who you are, you should be allowed to express it. And she said, "Dressed like a hoe." But
Madonna, some of us like to dress like a hoe. Now, come on.
Really not me. But I mean, and that's the thing. But maybe, hey Kim, maybe, and here's the problem. We're saying it's the school's responsibility. It's it's the kids have to wear uniforms because we can't control them if da da da. And that society has to be, they're expected to behave a certain way in society, and which is true. And here's the thing: instead of making it normal to take the piss out of somebody or make fun of them, make that not normal. Make it to where you're teaching your kids, teach your kids that different is okay. Teach them that from a very young age, and then they won't go to school and take the piss out of each other. Here's the thing, though. Kids will find a reason to do it. Kids are kids. Kids will be, they'll pick on each other for, even if they're all dressed the same, they'll still take the piss out of each other. They'll still pick on each other. They'll still tease each other about, well, you're dressed like me, but you have red hair. You're a ginger, and da 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 da, and you have curly hair. It happens regardless. But if you teach, I feel like as a society, if we go put in the belief that it's not okay to make fun of people. It's okay for people to be different. They don't have to look like you. That's absolutely fine. That's acceptable. Then you get rid of the problem of where, oh, my kid's going to be picked on. It's like, well, let's make that not the norm then. But that's something that has to happen within society. So let me say, hey, Camille, I'm a public school teacher in a very conservative, large high school in Texas. Girl, I'm from Texas, so I am a Democrat. Most teachers are very sensitive and aware of using correct pronouns and not judgmental. That's good, though. That's excellent. I hope that's like everywhere. Sometimes it's not, but you also have to teach kids young that different is okay. That just because someone doesn't look like you, or that it's okay, and then you don't have. And I mean, I know that's utopian thought, okay, but I just don't. Parents don't.
And along the lines here too, like LaDonna's saying, that comes from how you're taught at home.
100%. Yes, that's yes.
So if you're taught trouble at home, you're going to take it into the school.
If you're hearing your parents, well, so little Johnny over there is a little so and so. Those children, let me tell you, you could be in the upstairs in a closet talking to your husband and think your kids can't hear you. They can hear you. Them little kids got radar ears. You better go around the block and down the street to have that conversation because they're going to hear you in the house. I'm just saying.
I was reading Camille, and that's the other problem we have going on in these U.S. right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Christian nationalists and their people they're pushing to be in office is causing a lot of problems. Anyway, the other thing I have about the school uniforms too, let's bring it down to being a poor person. Because I remember as a child, my parents had a hard time with me having to get clothing for school. I mean, I only got one pair or two pair of jeans and like 4 shirts and some underwear and socks a year.
Yeah.
So if a school is forcing you to go out and buy these specific uniforms and trying to find them, I'm coming from a rural area, all that.
Right. Correct. Yes.
So, I mean, it also puts a burden on the poorer families to do that. Because, I mean, if schools are wanting uniforms, they should have to provide them because, I mean, because on top, not only the school uniforms, but you're trying to pay for all this crap that your children need for school. And if you're a poorer thing at the beginning of the school year where you have to, you know, get all the supplies and everything that you're supposed to have and the books and all that stuff, that's the thing. It's putting a burden on lower class people.
Right. And here's the thing. So we'll go into that for a minute. Buying uniforms. So my friend who has 3 boys, 2 of them are twins, and they are not the same size. They cannot wear each other's clothes. You have the school jackets. You have the dress shirts. You have the ties. You have the slacks. Then you have the sweatshirts. Then you have the polo shirts. For 3 boys, she's a widow. How is she supposed to pay for that? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. It's like, not that I'm saying that buying normal clothes would be cheaper, but the thing is, so they say, oh, well, the uniforms will make you look the same. Well, you can tell if little Timmy has 4 or 5 different uniforms, and little Johnny only got one wearing it every day. Because it's going to wear out quicker. So you're not hiding anything. You're not hiding it. What are you trying to hide? Why are you making it where if this child is on a lower socioeconomic scale, that's bad, so he has to look like everybody else? And that's what we're going to get into now. We're going to get to the next thing. Oh my God. There's her daughter. Yeah, girl. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I feel bad for my friend. You know, it's like, girl, can I pitch in and buy some, you know, school clothes, you know, for the boy? You know, do you know what I mean? Because you feel bad, because that's what you do as friends. But you know, it's just like, oh, it's awful. So, pro 2. Here's the pro argument for uniforms. School uniforms keep students focused on their education, not their clothes. John Robert pointed that out. Now, true. To some extent, but if little Timmy got 4 or 5 uniforms and little Johnny only got the 1 uniform, I can assure you little Johnny's thinking about it. Little Johnny, and so is little Timmy taking the piss out of little Johnny. I'm just saying it's going to happen regardless if you have the same clothing. So it just says the National Association of Secondary Primary Principals stated that when all students are wearing the same outfit, they are less concerned about how they look. I'd be wearing a uniform and still be in full drag. I'm sorry. And I would be concerned about it. I would be concerned how my hair looked.
But I kind of understand what they're saying on that point. No. Coming from, once again, a poorer side, my parents are not buying me $100, whatever jeans cost $100. I don't know. I don't even know. I can't even tell you.
Right, exactly.
So when you look at the other kids who have these, the name brand shoes and the clean looking, you know, there was a time we lived where, we had a well outside of our house and we pumped water, and your clothes don't always look the cleanest or nicely pressed or look new all the time. So I understand what they're saying about the uniforms, that part. I understand that part in their thinking.
Right. And it says it provides for less distraction, less drama, and more focusing on learning, which is important. I'm not saying it's not. But, and absolutely, you like you said, but let me tell you, even if you had a school uniform, you would still have that problem.
Yeah, I don't see what the clothes as far as focusing on learning.
Right.
Because from what I remember, of course, I'm thinking high school age, not like younger age.
Yeah.
You're saying they're thinking, oh my God, this is so boring. I don't want to be here. What are you talking about? I don't understand. That type of thing. You're not thinking, oh my God, I look bad today and I can't focus on what my lesson is.
Yeah, no. So that's the pro. I understand it. I get it. I accept that that's a real concern. I accept that that does take place. I'm not saying that doesn't. And so I'm saying some of the pros, I'm not pooping all the pros. I'm understanding, trying to understand that pro isn't okay. That's not bad. But here's the con. The flip side is school uniforms promote conformity over individuality, which is what you were saying earlier. And here's the thing. So, I'll just read this. Chicago junior high student Kyle Sumter wrote in the Huffington Post, they decided to teach us about people like Rosa Parks, Susan B. Anthony, Booker T. Washington. We learned about how these people express themselves and conquered, and we can't express ourselves in the hallways. Preach, young man. Preach. So, and teaching conformity and squelching individual thought is just like, this is what Harford County MD, Troy Schumann, said the introduction of mandatory uniform policy in his school would be teaching conformity, squelching individual thought, just like prisons and gangs. The ultimate socializer to crush rebellion is conformity in appearance. If a school system starts at close, where does it end? Preach.
Well, we know where it ends.
Well, yeah, we do.
Florida.
Where it's going. And this is where it says, in schools where uniforms are specially gendered, girls must wear skirts, boys must wear pants. Transgender, gender fluid, and gender nonconforming students can feel ostracized. And that's that. And so the very thing you want to stop, you're actually doing with uniforms, I mean.
Okay, so I have to say something, John Robert. I'm going to be combative with you. You say it's about kids not having to judge and degrade other kids for what they're wearing. It doesn't matter a flip what they're wearing. If you are taught at home that certain people are not worthy, it doesn't matter what those type of people are wearing. You're going to find a way to degrade them and put them down and make them feel small, even if the two of you are wearing the same uniform.
Right, correct. I could be dressed just like all the other girls in school, and I would be like, "Oh, who's that little redhead over there? Who's that little freckle face?" Didn't matter that I was dressed. However, they weren't going for my clothes. They were going for my little freckles on my face. I couldn't change that. So see, I could have been dressed just like everybody else, but they'd have gone for my hair because I was a redhead and my freckles, and they went for my freckles every time. The word freckle face if I had a dime for every time someone called me that as a child, I'd be rich. And I see, and that then it's like, I get it. I get it. Uniformity is fine if you're in the military or you're in a job and that's what you do. But it's not what children are for. you have, who knows? You could have a child that wears purple hair, and they may end up in the military and be fine. Like, great, I love it. But I just feel like, I know this is a little extra, but it's almost like crushing someone's little soul. Just to feel like it's like you stay down there and be like everybody else. And that's what I'm saying is that if you learn young enough that you're not like everybody else, it won't be a shock when you grow up and realize you're not. And that's okay. There's going to be people from different socio-economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, whatever. And that's fine. I was fine through elementary and junior high. I mean, I dressed like my friends, and I looked like, had the clothes, and I never felt right. I always felt like I was pretending. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretending to be like these people, but I'm not. And then when I got to high school, I realized my parents will take me anywhere to get school clothes. I realized I opened up my, like, I started dressing different and dressing, doing my hair different and just expressing myself, and the freedom I felt just to be able to do that. And I was, not that I loved high school, but I think I was happy when I realized you can look like you want. You don't have to look like them. That's fine if they look like, but you can be Dolores. You can be who you're meant to be. And I was so happy. And my parents were like, yeah, girl, you do you, girl. They were fine with it. In fact, they had to defend me a couple of times at school when I got in trouble for breaking the dress code, which I didn't. It was just that it was not something that they were used to a high school student wearing, like a 1950s tea dress with a pair of combat boots. Went to office for that. I think I was at a dress code, and my parents were like, where does it say here she can't wear that? So there's nothing they could do. And I went to school, and I didn't like, high school, and I got picked on. I was in a small group of other geeky, new wave punk kids. We were all hung out together, and we constantly got picked on. Yes, it was our choice to dress that way. Of course it was. Some of it was, quite intense to some of my friends who aren't straights. And that happened a lot. And a lot of gay bashing at my school. And I think, and not like physical, but like, the words, and that's sometimes worse than getting hit, child. And I think having gone all through that and that was my experience, even though, and I didn't go, oh, well, I'm not going to dress like this anymore. I'm like, no, I'm going to go even bigger now. Yeah, watch, hold my beer. I'm going to go even crazier. So, but I think it made me who I am today. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will stand up for myself. I won't take any crap off anybody. I will, express myself, So I think, that was my experience. I'm just saying. So, right, let's move on. So the next pro, school uniforms create a level playing field among students, reducing peer pressure and bullying. Well, not according to my friend whose all three sons all wear uniforms at a school here, and that happens all the time. Yep, that happens all the time. They still get into arguments. They still get picked on, but they may not get picked on for their clothes. They get, you're fat, you're skinny, you wear glasses, you're this, you're that. Kids are nasty. They will find a way.
Humans are nasty.
Yeah, humans
cannot put a group of people that come from different backgrounds and different beliefs and different everything, put them together in a room and not have them go after each other, no matter what their age is. Well, I'm going to exclude the little ones, little ones who really haven't learned that type of hatred yet, but they will be indoctrinated into it. I mean, just coming from where I work and I watch and look at people, and you can't put a group of people together without conflict.
Yeah, and that's where we need to learn as, we're all the same species, y'all. What are we doing here? Why are we, why are we, what, it's just, and the education part is important, Adana. Absolutely. And we're so focused on, well, this, and these things, and no one's focusing on the actual education of these children, of they're really getting into, you know, what? Yes, exactly. That's yeah. That the mixture of that's what makes up the United States, supposedly. Hey, Tally. I was born with a uniform. Think kids learn from home. People criticize their scene. Yeah. We'll put that up there. Yeah, exactly. If you teach kids respect early on about differences, and that just someone doesn't have to look like you, and you don't have to judge somebody because they're not you or what you're used to, that will carry on, because those lessons that are learned young stay with you forever. I don't care what anybody says. You may tweak them and alter them, but if they're really good solid lessons in the beginning, then maybe we won't have the problems we're having. So okay, so level playing field. So the level playing field, it was like, when students dressed alike, competition between students over clothing choices and the teasing of those who are dressed in less expensive or less fashionable outfits can be eliminated. Oh no, they'll find a way. So they're saying that would help. Now the con is school uniforms do not stop bullying and may increase violent attacks. Like, oh my God. So this one PhD associate professor at Brock University said, overall, there is no evidence in bullying literature that supports a reduction in violence due to school uniforms. So, in fact, a Texas Southern University study found that school discipline incidents rose by 12% after the introduction of uniforms. So it just depends on where you're getting your data. Both could be skewed. We don't know. One, everybody wants their point valid. Okay, so this is just whether and it's actually fine if you think, well, yes, my kids should wear uniforms. That's great. Again, I don't have small children in school. I never had to deal with that. So,
Well, and here's the thing, you could look at it this way too. If you're in the correct circumstances where you can afford these uniforms, and you're not dealing with anybody who's different or anything like that, in your view, it probably is a great thing, because you have 5 uniforms. You wash them, they wear the same thing. You don't have to, there's no arguments about what you're going to wear today, because here it is. This is what you have to wear. No arguments about, I don't want to wear pink shoes today. Yeah, the morning routine of trying to get your kids out to school and them having hissy fits about things just because they're in a bad mood. Like me as a 55-year-old child. So I could see that point of view if everything is wonderful in your world as far as a school uniform. I could see that if you're a busy parent and you have those uniforms that those kids are going to wear, the kids know they have to wear them, and it's the same thing. You don't have to worry about picking something out until they outgrow them. And that's the other thing. As children are growing, then dang, you got to replace those. I mean, you would have to replace clothes anyways, but I mean.
Yeah. And so the next one was, school uniforms may improve attendance and discipline. I don't know. If I wanted to go to the beach that day, it didn't matter if I was wearing a uniform. I would skip school. Yes, John, Robert. Thank God our cats don't go to school, because I imagine they'd be hot messes. So this one study says, a study by researchers at the University of Houston found that the average absence rate for girls in middle school and high school decreased by 7% after the introduction of uniforms. Behavioral problems lessened in severity. Okay. I telling you, it doesn't. Um, I'm always looking comfy, H. I know. I said to him today, I was like, I just got home from work. This is all you're getting. um,
And once again, I am not trying to put people in their places by the uniform that I am wearing.
uh,
Just saying. It may look high class, but she's low.
but then the con to that was school uniforms do not improve attendance, academic preparedness, or exam results. So, a professor at the sociology of Virginia Polytechnic Institute, and a co-author of a study that analyzed a national sample of 10th graders, found no effects of uniforms on absenteeism, behavioral problems, fights, suspensions, etc., or substance use on campus, and no effects on pro-school attitudes, academic preparedness, peer attitudes toward school. Again, you've got one side saying everybody's going to school and doing great on exams, and the other one side saying it doesn't really matter. They're still not doing it. they're still messing up. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Catholic school, we recycled them to other students. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. It's like, but you can tell when people have, and that's the thing. I will get to that in a minute, where the uniforms that were hand-me-downs look very much like that, which is absolutely fine. But then you're saying you're giving people a level playing field, and really not, because people can tell the difference from last year's uniform or your brother's uniform that's been handed down from your other brother to, the brand new uniforms. Okay. Oh, well, okay. So, well, now I will.
Yes.
Uniform policies say valuable class time because they are easy to enforce than the standard dress code. Yeah. I mean, because I was kind of an asshole as a teenager, I would wear things that would challenge a dress code. Like like right there, like I'm right there. You can't say nothing to me. I got kind of a kick out of it. To see how far, and I mean, it was right at the knee. It wasn't too, yeah. Well, okay. I do believe this.
You're giving yourself away there, Dolores.
No, but I do. It does. I probably waste a lot of principals' valuable time when a teacher sent me to the office because my outfit wasn't deemed dress code worthy, and when we got there, it was. So I went back to class. One time I wore my dad's military jacket to school as a dress. I'm a short person. Surprisingly, I know I seem tall, but I'm only 5'1", and that's probably exaggeration. Um, so, so I would wear my dad's army jacket as a dress with my, cowgirl boots because I thought it was funny, and like fishnet stockings, and and I'd go to school like that. Well, it's like, well, what rule am I breaking? Because the jacket's appropriate length, but because it was you're disrupting other students is what it was. And I was like, but that's not in the rule book. So I went.
You still have that attitude. Look at you putting that tongue back in there.
No, but to be fair, that for them, and I'll be honest, now that I'm an adult, was a time wasting activity. Absolutely, I wasted those poor people's time. I'll admit it. I did. Because I just thought, So it is true. An elementary assistant principal in 2 suburban districts, I can tell you that the dress code took up a great deal of my time in the area of discipline. I wish many times that we'd had uniforms because the issues of skirts or shorts being too short, baggy jeans on pants on the boards not being pulled up as they needed to be, and would have been a non-issue. I get it. I'm sorry for wasting all your time. High school I went to. Oh, I said it. Oh, I didn't waste my time. I wasted their time. I got a hoot out of it. I'm not being horrible, but I did. I mean, I knew exactly who I was back then. I'm still listening. I did waste their time. That was wrong of me. That was wrong. And I think because There's no excuse. I could give you all the excuses in the world. I have no excuse. I said I was an asshole. What do you want? I owned it. You know, doesn't make it okay, but I did. So that is, I think, to that degree, yeah, I can see where you. But here's the thing: had I been wearing uniforms, I can assure you, I'd have pushed that uniform level right to the cusp. I'd have been like, how can I make this different? But they can't say anything. I would have. I would have. I said, can I add a bunch of brooches to my jacket? You know? Yeah, we can't. I do. Girls in high school. I wasn't even a little kid. I was in high school. Um. I mean, had I worn a uniform, I'd be going, how can I make this look different without getting in trouble? Maybe they're not. Yes, that is time wasted, but I still got my work done. So.
Well, I'm thinking back, knowing, I'm just trying to think if we had, I would have felt no different going to school,
Right,
wearing my poor clothes to
Mhm.
wearing a school uniform, because I would have gotten, and not that I knew that this is what I am. I had no clue back then of anything. But there are certain people, kids, adults, whatever, that hone in
Mhm.
on people they know are not confident about themselves, or know something is not school uniform.
Yeah, yeah.
Uniform, this is the way society should be type. You are not that type of person, no matter what you're wearing. I would have been picked on even with a school uniform. Um, so honestly, my learning in school wasn't super great because I was more concerned with getting down the hallway without being accosted, or getting through PE class without being thrown in the showers, or, being called names. As so um, For me, my own instance, I don't think a uniform would have changed anything.
Yeah. No, I know. And it's not, it wouldn't have been honed on even your clothes. It would have been, they'd have picked up on, maybe, you know what I mean? Like who you are, which has nothing to do with clothes. Do you know what I mean? So Lord of the Flies situation. Yeah. With Bill, with Bill's report, girl. Yes. So now this school uniforms prevent the display of gang colors and insignia. I think.
And see, that's something coming from where I came from. I don't know anything. That would be the least thought on my mind, unless there was
Right.
a farm gang or something. I mean,
It's a Bigfoot gang.
so, that is also, like, my thinking is skewed because I don't come from these bigger cities where there are some major, huge things going on that kids have to deal with that I have no idea about, or would have had no idea from where I came from. So,
I mean, here's the thing, Roberts, and this is what I'm talking about. So why is the teacher asking you that? And whether or not, let's just say John Robert was in a uniform, I bet you that teacher still would have asked that question because it's not about the clothes. Do you know what I mean? So now, gang thing. The gang, okay, where I grew up had later, it was started off as a nice neighborhood, it was an old neighborhood, but eventually, like all things, like certain neighborhoods do, it turned a little bit rough, and that was an issue. Not when, not really when well, it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't like LA or anything, but it was Houston. But we had that problem. We had where, people were wearing, well, I think it was weird when I was in 8th grade. It was like this gang called the Smurfs. And it was like an urban legend. It was an urban legend. And it was like, oh, Smurfs coming to school to fight. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they ever existed. I never saw anybody from these said Smurf gangs. So I don't know. But we do have rival gang. But that happens with football teams. rival football teams will fight each other, and yet you'll allow them to wear their sports shirt, and to out, and then the other team sees them and then they get, so, I mean, I get what you're saying, but gangs are a lot worse than people fighting over football, and it doesn't happen, and it does occur, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but again, you just have, and by that point, it's like they'll wear, by that point in junior high school, if that behavior is already being displayed, the uniform's not going to stop it, unfortunately. And this is where they need maybe outside mentors, or or mentors in the school to help them try to get away from that activity. But I don't know if that would end it. It may end it on the schoolyard, but it's kind of like, once you're out of my school, it's not my problem. Well, with these cheap, but I think, which is fair enough. The school can't watch you 24/7. That's your parents' job. But I don't know if it stopped fighting to that extent. I mean, it probably didn't encourage it. Uniforms didn't encourage it as much as that. I can understand why. But when I looked at I don't even know how to say this. When I looked at Fort Bend ISD's schools that were uniforms, I noticed where they were located. And they were located in an area which is lower socioeconomic minority areas. And I kind of was like, huh, interesting. Pretty much the areas so I was like, wow. Now that may have been decided. I mean, Beth explained it all to me. It's decided by the parents and the school board and And maybe that does work for particular, hey Val, for particular schools. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe it helps certain, maybe that area, or I don't know. But I just felt it was a little bit like, oh, wow. So all the schools in that area now are uniform. It just kind of, rubbed me a little bit, like, not the wrong way, but I understand why, because when I was still living there were a lot of problems like that. And it was a shame, because that'll be our next topic. We'll talk about that later. So school uniforms emphasize the socioeconomic divisions that they are supposed to eliminate. Yep, I accept that too. I feel like we said about the uniforms being, nice, clean, new uniforms, and the rundown, worn out uniforms that were passed down. That's that says a lot, and the child can't help that. But you're like, but you're, because we only have, like, we're almost at the top of the hour, y'all. Sorry, this is just going by so quick. I only got to like Con 5 and Pro 5. But you're saying that with uniforms, you're not emphasizing clothing, but you kind of are with uniforms. You're kind of still emphasizing clothing. So there's that. Oh, y'all, this was great. I'm so happy let's just see what Tally says. One day it's going to someone's backpack, and the price I had to pay was writing 400 statements. After that, my wrist hurt so bad. Yeah, that'll do it. They'll learn you. But all right, guys, I know we could go on and on and on. I'm sorry, but thanks for everybody for participating. It was, I mean, it was just it's a really good topic. I don't know if you're pro or con. It doesn't matter, as long as, children get to learn and I'm con uniforms. That's just me. And if you're pro uniforms, it's absolutely fine. That works for you. And, but thanks everybody for participating in the chat. I appreciate it. And next week we will be on Daniel's channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. Well, no, not same bat channel. Daniel's bat channel, the same time.
Daniel's batty channel. Oh, mercy. Yes, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time over on my channel next week. Have no idea what the heck we're going to talk about yet. I'm not like Dolores that can come up with these interesting topics, so stay tuned.
But I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I guess she's done now.
Bye, y'all. No, just kidding. Thanks everybody for popping in. I appreciate it. I've got like, I get distracted easily. I'm like my cat. So where do you think she gets it from? So, all right, guys, we will see you next week on Daniel's channel. We'll put out all the promos so you'll know. Subscribe, like, comment later after this chat, and we will see you next week. Take care, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.